What up, friends? We are back here at oddschecker.com talking more PGA Tour action, and the Canadian Open is back. It's been too long. It's been sad. Canada, we're a very proud sporting nation to have this tournament not be a part of the summer fabric here. Disappointing, but it is back. A very interesting field that's super top heavy. That's so cool for Canada. We're missing a middle tier. It's got a back end, but if you're hosting the event, I think you accept the extra top end and lack of middle tier. That's, I think, made the people here quite happy, Joe.
Yeah, you got your superstars. That'll bring out the fans. That'll sell some tickets. That'll put some butts in that maybe in that suspended bar over the 18th grade or whatever they're trying to do this week. But yeah, man, it's a fun field. Look, the week 4 major, there will certainly be question marks around some of the top guys and potentially looking past this week. That's always sort of a popular narrative, but excited to do this again with you, buddy. I've kind of been on a nice little run here. I've hit like 3 or 4 matchups in a row.
So we're carrying me, Joe. No, you're carrying me. I'm a heavy guy. So Joe's shoulders hurt. He's carrying me. If you're part of like this golf Twitter ecosystem, it's almost like this tournament doesn't exist at the moment, but come Thursday morning, people will be victory lapping and we'll be back. We'll be back to normal. So props for the RBC are kind of an afterthought. We've got all this golf live action, US Open, but let's get into it. We got the props here. I'm going to start us off with head to head. They've been working for you. I'm going to play 2. I'm kind of going to split the bet here, picking on the same guy. I'm playing Shane Lowry plus 115 over Cam Smith. I'm playing Matthew Fitzpatrick plus 118 over Cam Smith. Maybe you can make a case I should be getting more back. I just think Lowry and Fitzpatrick are perfect fits at the moment. They've been playing incredibly consistent. Not to say Cam Smith isn't, and stepping in front of him can be worrisome. But off the tee, he's been a bit of a, he likes the wide fairways that lack the trouble, the Waialae, the Augusta. You can find it here. You can find trouble off the tee. Am I worried his Magic Bean ability to find par from everything? Of course. But this season's been fire. US Opens next week. Fitz and Lowry, I think, are perfect setup for how this week goes. I am stepping in front of Cam Smith, Joe. A little nervous, but confident.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I actually had circled as one of my ones. I didn't end up going with it, Geoff, but Cam Smith to miss the cut bet. It was plus 450 this week, which I thought was one of the biggest numbers on the board in terms of miss the cut. Look, he looked disappointed Sunday, right at the Memorial, and that can sometimes carry over. He lost strokes around the green in that round. He lost strokes putting. He lost in 2 of his final 3 rounds on approach as well. So some things left him. You mentioned his biggest weakness, if there was one at the moment, is accuracy off the tee. All indications are it's going to be very important at St. George's. You probably know a little better than I do, but I don't mind either of those matchups at all, with Fitz and Lowry seemingly being much better course fits.
So that's where I'm going. Matchups have been working for you. Are you going back to any?
Yeah. So here's what I got. Matchup wise, Corey Connors. I'm taking the Canadian. I know the narrative's there, but
he doesn't got to win. He's just got to beat whoever you're putting him up against. It's different.
Taking him over Harold,
Joe.
It's pretty simple for me. I think that Corey Connors is a better player. And
I cut you off. I apologize. I do that sometimes. Who was it against?
HV3.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Talk it out.
So Connors, I think, is the better player. I think that he sets up better for this event. And I've heard some rumblings and the guys that you and I talked to that Corey's been there for a while. He's been getting the work in, and Harold's out in Oregon. So flying over tonight, I guess, getting in late, no practice rounds. You've probably heard the same thing.
I've heard this, and I agree on the surface with the bet. Like, this sets up perfectly. It's also a shot maker's course. I wouldn't be looking to pick on Varner. As somebody who's got like some Varner ties, Varner's actually gotten me tickets to many Canadian Opens in the past, and if my leg was working, I'd be there this week. As someone that's needed a favor from Varner, in the past, he's habitually shows up to events later than a lot of players. That's 100%. Like a regular thing. Because I've been there, like, can he help me? Can he not help me? What's the word? He's like, I don't know. He's not there yet. Like, that's a regular, like, this isn't out of the ordinary, but there are Varner big season US Open next week. He's an RBC ambassador. This might feel more like an obligation than an actual tournament he's really mentally focused for. So I can't argue with any of your points there, Joe. Only to throw up, he's literally like the last guy to register weekly. Apparently,
yes,
that's like
I've heard that
thing.
as well. I remember, I think it was when he had the kid. We weren't sure if he was going to show up in Vegas and popped in like 2 hours before his tee time and didn't play well. So some of that stuff is totally overblown. I just think that Corey sets up a little bit better this week in particular, and I think he's a little bit better of a player.
Can't argue any parts of that. I'm going to go in the top 20 market. I'm going to piggyback off a player I'm picking to win this week, like a lot of people are, which is a concern because it would be a fun party. Ty Hatton, 125 to 1. It's coming in as low as minus 120 when using that grid. Hatton, Joe, has not lost strokes with approaches. Only one event this year, the Masters. I don't know. There's got a bugaboo there, whatever reason. It's very conducive if he can keep it in play off the tee. Sand, complete bunkering around, protecting these greens. He ranks very high for me in approach and in bunker play, sand save. So Ty Hatton on many levels popping for me. I'm committed to him getting the summer rolling, plus 125 for the T20.
Yeah, I love that, man. Great pick there. There's definitely a disparity between what FanDuel number has on him and what the DraftKings number has. So good eye there. I'm going to go like in a very similar mold on a similar price. I'm going to take Tony Finau in the top 20 market.
Almost did that one.
Plus 110 over at DraftKings is the best number out there. Those numbers are relatively flat, but he's just trending. Things are ticking in the right direction. He maybe has a little mojo working in his favor. And I honestly feel like these top names, like you take the top 8 players in this field, there's a big gap. Like you mentioned it to sort of start us off here between the top end talent and those below. I think a lot of these guys should have great T20 numbers this week. And then a little bit of a longer shot on a T40 on a guy that I bet quite often. I'm going to take Adam Svensson. I know the Canadian narrative is sort of overblown, but listen, he doesn't have to win. He's got a top 40 this week. He's been ball striking it really well. He's very accurate off the tee. These smallish, his bugaboo is like 3-putting, but these really tiny greens, if he can hit them, he should be close enough where he's able to 2-putt enough time, maybe make some birdies. And of all sort of the high expectations on a lot of the shoulders of the Canadian players coming into this event as their home event, I think Svensson may be a little bit overlooked, and you're almost getting double your money at plus 190 on a top 40 out of Adam Svensson. Those are my 3.
I like the direction of both, and I've bet Finau to win this week. And it is, if I am gonna token Canadian up for a card, Nick Taylor, Adam Svensson, super balmy back of the pack is sort of where I'm going. I'm just anti the Canadians winning. Maybe that's mean of me. I'm not anti them playing great, Joe, but it's like a level of pressure that we put on these guys. It's not fair. Imagine betting a guy to win the RBC, but he's going to have pressure like he's trying to win a major.
I know. Yeah, you mentioned that. I heard that earlier. Not fair. It's fair.
And you watch the Spanish Open, like there's like 4 Spaniards fighting for it. And you watch other national opens, and it's always like Lowry and a couple Irish guys. You know, they play great.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a bugaboo, but Canada made the World Cup of Soccer for the first time in my life, and that's exciting. And maybe they'll finally win a Canadian Open. So we'll see. That'll be super fun. We're going to get out of here. There's a slew of like Europeans I think will feel very comfortable on this golf course. I could list them off, but then I'd just be naming names. There are so many of them. I've narrowed in on Matt Wallace, plus 170, top 40. He's got 2 very, I want to say top 15 or flirting with top 15 results in his last couple DP World starts here. I think it's a course type that can work perfectly for him, along with a lot of guys who do just play a ton of classic, very thick, rough, narrow European golf courses. I think they'll feel right at home at St. George's, even with the namesake of the location. I'm Geoff Fienberg. That is Joe Idone. We are going to be back next week. Feels like a hurricane of golf at the moment, and we got a major next week. So there's so much going on. Can't wait to continue chatting with Joe, breaking down golf. Hopefully you won't have to carry me this week. We'll carry each other here, and we'll win some ducats heading into a US Open where we'll certainly be overexposed. We'll be back next week.